Joby got a big boost this week when they announced a partnership with Uber. This is not going to be for the eVTOL aircraft that Joby is designing itself. This is actually going to be for their Blade business. They recently acquired Blade, the mobility company, but this is a mobility company that's using helicopters to fly people around. So they're buying that because they basically bought the infrastructure, all the agreements that they have with helipads all around the world, and then also the helicopters that they're licensing as well. Let's get into exactly why this is a big deal. Starts off a partnership that could be really long lasting between Joby and Uber. I think this is the kind of partnership that can make a lot of sense for both companies. Joby is bringing these innovative aircraft to market. Uber is just the marketplace. So you're just going to match supply with demand. Could be a win-win for everybody. But let's dig into it. My name is Travis Hoyam. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And thanks to this video sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. Let's start with what Joby and Uber announced. The expanded global partnership to bring Blade flights onto the Uber app. The partnership lays the ground foundation for Joby's quiet zero emissions air taxi in key markets. That's the aircraft that's probably going to launch next year at some point. They're doing testing both in the US and then also in the UAE. But Blade is a pretty big business. In 2024, flew 50,000 passengers in a network of routes. Most of those are in the New York metropolitan area or in Southern Europe. So what exactly does that look like? This is Blade's website. So you can fly a Blade aircraft. It works a little bit like Uber. Blade does not actually own the helicopters. They're just connecting you with a company that's operating the helicopter. And then you can fly it from the airport, fly to the Hamptons. In Europe, there's a number of different places like Monaco, Saint-Tropez that you're able to go. So it's a little bit like Uber, but for the skies. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. Uber has had some of these services for a while, especially in New York. So for these two companies, really the advantage is Uber increases the amount of supply and the options that they have for mobility. So if you think about Uber's future, they're going to want to be able to offer you a ride with a human driver, an autonomous driver, could potentially bring helicopters, air travel, other kinds of transportation into the Uber network. That's really what they want to do, is be your one-stop shop for air travel. The reason that Joby is potentially really interesting for Uber is it makes it longer point-to-point travel. So think long-term, maybe you're flying from New York to Philadelphia or Los Angeles to San Diego, even potentially Los Angeles all the way up to San Francisco. Those flights could be possible on Joby aircraft. So if they have that network in place, you just go into the Uber app. That could be the kind of thing that adds a lot of value to both of those companies. From Joby's side, this is another example of bringing demand to the market. What they need to have as they start to bring more and more aircraft to market, they're only building about 24 aircraft is what their capacity is going to be. I think that's going to be by the end of this year. But that's not a whole lot of aircraft, but you do need to keep them flying, especially if they want to have what they say the best economics for this business is going to be, which is them owning the aircraft and actually operating the network, the air taxi network. So if they're going to do that, then how do you bring demand in? Are you going to do that all on your own and say, you know what, you got to go to the Joby app, you got to download the app, you got to interact with that, or are you going to partner with a company like Uber that's going to bring you potentially millions and millions of people that could be sources of demand? That's what they're choosing to do. I think it makes a lot of sense for both of these companies. That's why Joby's stock was up earlier this week. This is not the kind of thing that we're going to see immediately impact their balance sheet or their income statement, but it is the kind of deal that's going to give them a longer runway and probably increase their total addressable market. So love what I'm seeing from Joby. I own both of these stocks in the asymmetric portfolio, so happy to see a partnership between the two. But let me know what you think about the future for Joby and Uber. Leave those comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.